Moon Podcast Escalation! Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan D. White.
My name is Chris Sims, and this is Sailor Business. It's the podcast where we sit down with a friend each and every week, asterisk, and watch an episode of the classic 1992 Sailor Moon anime to talk about just why it is that we love it so much. And we have a great show this week. I'm very excited that everyone can join us for the final episode of Sailor Moon.
No.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Because I watched it, and I'm pretty sure this is the last episode.
There's actually 75 more.
That doesn't make any sense. We're going to be watching episode 125 of Sailor Moon S, which is called The Shining Shooting Star, Saturn, and the Messiah. And to help us talk about that, we have a very special friend whose appearance was teased. There's been so much foreshadowing, so much prophecy. It's written in the scrolls. Chris Lewis is here.
Hi, I am here.
Chris, welcome to the show. Like you said, it was the Lindsay Scrolls.
It was the Lindsay Scrolls. They came down from the heavens. She told of my coming, and I am now here. It is 6 a.m. in LA, and I am here.
Yeah, you got up.
Yeah, I did.
We were like, yeah, we can't wait to record another episode.
We got to do it. We got to do it now, and we're doing it. We got it. So it's 9 a.m. where I'm from, and I'm ready to go. So,
welcome to the show.
Yeah,
what is your history? Actually, what's your history with Sailor Moon? And also, what's your history with Lindsay?
Oh, God. Okay, so did Sailor Moon come first? Sailor Moon came first, and then Lindsay. I watched my first episode of Sailor Moon, I believe, when I was in grade school, because a friend woke me up at 6 a.m., ironically, and told me, you got to come downstairs. I want to show you a show. And I did not want to watch whatever she was going to show me. And it was the talent show episode where Ray holds the talent show and sings Oh Starry Night. And I remember thinking, this is dumb and I don't care. And went back to bed because it was too early and I didn't give a shit. And then like a year or two later, as I would get ready for school in the morning, the episodes were showing, I believe, on just syndicated TV. I think it was like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning. And that's how I kind of got rehooked on it. And then when I would come home is when they started showing them on Toonami. I believe they showed the lost episodes around that time. And they were all the Viz dubs. And I got rehooked. And then I believe they started showing the S episodes for the Cloverway dub around 2001, which blew my mind because at that time I was only watching them in subtitles, like shitty subtitles from the Elizabeth Center that I watched in my friend's basement. And my friend Jamie is the one I would watch them with in high school. And she was like, all right, you got to meet some friends of mine who also like Sailor Moon. And one of them was Lindsay. And we all started hanging out in high school watching Sailor Moon in the basement. And that just begat many, many friendships. And then I started going to conventions and met many, many more people who love Sailor Moon. And it just kind of grew from there. And it's been many years and many experiences that I've had because of Sailor Moon. And I've been very happy to have them. But yeah, kind of came together. And one of the reasons I met Lindsay was because of our love for Sailor Moon, which is great.
Yay.
Yay. I mean, that's a short, abbreviated version. I've done way too much Moon stuff. So. And I temporarily, I think for 2 years, worked for Viz as one of the customers for the Sailor Moon days. One of them was out in AX out here in LA. That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So please talk about that, because one of the things that you sent over when you first got in touch, and to give people an idea, if you are wondering how far in advance we booked this show, because
a really long time,
people are so eager to be on the show, which is awesome. Like, you emailed me on September 19th, 2016.
Holy shit. Has it really been that long? Yes. I mean, it feels like it's been that long. So, damn. Yeah, I think I emailed you when Lindsay was like, yo, they dropped the call for guests. And I'm like, all right. And I immediately emailed you thinking I was never going to get this episode. This is actually my favorite. And then when you're like, no, it's clear. I'm like, slams down button. I'm claiming it. All right. here we go. I'll see you in a year. And here we are.
So one of the things that you
Yes.
mentioned was that you were promoting Sailor Moon Art Anime
Yes.
Expo, where you
I
were
did.
Pluto. And then when you were promoting
Mhm.
S, which was just the month previous at that time, you were Sailor Uranus. And
Mhm.
then looking through
Yes, you've
your
got so many.
your
Yeah.
cosplay photo page,
Mhm.
you've been everybody.
Yeah, I have. I have been cosplaying for 16 years, 15 years.
Is there anybody else in X-Force? Is that no Saturn? Have you been Saturn?
Well, there's Chibi.
I did not do Chibi and I did not do Saturn because I'm 5'8" and I look nothing like a tiny child.
Sure.
So that is the only reason I have not done that. But
Wait. Does that make you height accurate for Jupiter or too tall? I'm trying to
I am-
remember.
1 inch too tall.
1 inch too tall.
1 inch too tall.
I am height accurate for Uranus, I believe, which is why I've done her a
Oh.
lot. And I mean that.
But I see you've done Jupiter a bunch as well.
I did a couple of Jupiters. I think did I do Rego Jupiter? I feel like I only did some weird, like, we did original designs for some halftime show where I did kind of like a Vegas-y looking Jupiter.
Interesting.
You did a casual Makoto.
I did casual
too. That's on
Makoto.
here.
Yes. I had a wig and a little space dress and some other stuff. Yeah, I've done most of them. I have not done Rei. I have not done Ami. And I don't think I've done... I mean, I would not have done Chibi or Saturn, even though I like them a lot. I just don't think that I
Very
could Chibi or Saturn.
I have gone ahead and
Yes.
just hit the last page button here on your cosplay page
Oh,
to see everything from like 2007.
Oh, yikes, O'Malley.
No, first of all, they're all very good. But I wanted to see who was your first Sailor Moon cosplay,
Uh-huh.
and it looks like it was Usagi
It was.
from Sailor Stars.
Yes, it was. That was my very first one, and I used my own hair
Oh wow.
with extensions.
I was gonna say because you got Odongos.
I
in
do.
this.
Those are my hairs. My hair's put up in Odongos, and
Nice.
that was. I remember at the time I had a dip in my love of Sailor Moon where people actually were like, you remind me of Usagi, and I'm like, no, because I remember in the Viz era, I did not like her, and I loved the X-Force much better because they were stern and really, devoted to what they wanted to do. And I'm like, I want to be like them. I don't want to be like the kids. And now I'm like, no, you're right. I'm way more like Usagi. And that's kind of around the time where I regrew back into my love of Sailor Moon and started collecting a ton of Sailor Moon nonsense, which I am one of those collectors who every time a Proplica comes out, I end up getting it. Or I think I have almost every of the figure arts except for maybe Black Lady.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a lot of moon shit. I took photos since I'm not at home. I should probably send you some photos of my moon stuff via email so you can see my insane
Yeah,
collection.
that's awesome.
But yeah, I've done a lot, and Sailor Moon has always kind of been a big presence in my life, and I'm glad that I have a lot of friends, especially in cosplay dumb world, who are just as passionate about it as me. And I'm really glad, like, when the Viz stuff landed, I think it was a couple years ago when they announced that they had all of the licenses for the movies and the shows, that was when we all started freaking out, because it's a childhood dream come true that we actually get to finally own the entire series and the movies. And I think they're dropping the specials too. I think that they're doing the Ami-chan special, and that was great. And when some friends of mine actually do work for Viz, and they said, we're gonna be doing some Sailor Moon days if you would like to be a part of them. And I think I've been a part of two. I did one at Otakon and I did the one at Anime Expo. God, that was now 2 years ago. And I think that they're still going. They still go strong every single year. I just haven't had the chance to do them, but they're a lot of fun.
How do you get the official seal of approval to be Sailor Uranus or Sailor Pluto?
Oh God! So it was a crazy process, because when we do the team, like when we're all doing group costumes and stuff, like among our friends, we're like, oh yeah, here I'm gonna do Pluto and I'm gonna do Mars, and we all just kind of, I don't know, spitball our costumes and don't really check up on each other, like, hey, how are you doing your skirt? How are you doing your patterns? So when you do the Viz stuff, you've got to make sure that they all are done by the same pattern. They all look the same. They're all kind of cut at the same length for the skirts, because we have to look like a solid team. We're all coming from different areas, but mostly we were contacted because people found our costume stuff online and were like, hey, you look like you like a moon or two. Do you want to be a part of this? And I ended up getting contacted because I had done Uranus so many times before Anime Expo. I was told, okay, well, we're going to do R at AX. So if you want to be another character, we're going to surprise the audience at the panel with Uranus and Neptune and Saturn's voice actresses. So I had to make 2 costumes for that, but I did Pluto in the morning and then did Uranus at Sailor Moon Day, and I got to walk up Erica Mendez, who's the new voice actress for Uranus. And it was really just one of those, hey, we know that you like this character. Do you want to be a part of it? And that's kind of how they reached out to me. And that, and we all just kind of know each other. Like, a lot of the cosplayers have all kind of cosplayed together in the past before. So yeah, it was just everybody kind of reached out to each other. And my really good friend Claire, who has done Neptune with me, which is funny, she's a hair taller than me, and she's my Neptune, but when we walk together, she kind of like slouches a little bit more and I kind of stand up. I actually got heels that were a little too high so that I could be a hair taller than her. So that we walked out on stage, it wasn't like, why is Neptune a mountain and Uranus is a squatty? And yeah, it's been fun. We had a great time, and I wish that I had gone back this past year, but this year has been nuts. Like, there's been so many people just having a lot of like getting married. I've been to 4 weddings this year, and I just got back from Scotland in May, and I did not get the chance to do any of the Viz stuff this year, but I saw the people who did it and they looked like they had a great time, and I'm glad that it's still going because it's a lot of fun. And I am rambling about cosplay right now.
I'm sorry, did you say you've done New York Comic Con or no?
I have. I've done New York. I actually was in New York Comic Con for a hot second before, but I have not done cosplay for Viz for the Sailor Moon stuff at Comic Con, only because New York Comic Con is a hot disaster in terms of, if you were a cosplayer, good luck like walking from the subway to get to the con floor. So yeah, I have not done Moon stuff there, but I go there because it's local and I've been going for years. But yeah, I do go to New York Comic Con. It's fun if you're there for an hour and go, all right, time to go. And you leave.
Oh, the dream.
Oh, God.
The dream to be able to leave a convention when you want to.
I went on Thursday this year. It felt like a Saturday, and I left after walking the Artist Alley for a hot second and went, all right, hi, friends, goodbye, friends.
Yeah.
It was, it's been crazy now. I don't know how it got that bad.
So you mentioned that you used to be really resistant to being compared to Usagi.
Yeah.
But you've been so many of the Senshi. Like, do you have a favorite?
I do. My favorite is Usagi, actually. I have 2. So Uranus was my favorite for many, many, many years, and she still is like a hair or 2 below Usagi. I love Usagi so much. She actually grew on me and became my favorite, and I really do love her.
Hooray.
Above all the others. She is my favorite. And I think like it's hard for Usagi not to be somebody's favorite. She really does grow on you, and she's so
everybody's
good.
friend.
Why could you not like her? What? I know, what a good egg. I love her. Yeah.
She's a good sort.
She's a good sort. And yeah, Haruka is my second favorite, mostly because she was who I wanted to be in high school, because she was cool and she didn't give a shit and wanted to, complete her mission. And she comes across now as like a big jerk, but I really love her. And I don't know if you guys have watched Crystal yet, but her personality is 100% different in Crystal, and she's extremely protective of Usagi. Like really, really protective of her, and I love their relationship in the manga and Crystal.
Oh, maybe I'll like her better there.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you get the chance, like when all the craziness dies down, try to get. I don't recommend maybe watching the first 2 seasons of Crystal. I mean, watch them if you want, because you can catch up on all the Pluto stuff. But season 3, the S episodes of Crystal are so good. And I think you guys would like them. They knock out the Witches 5 in like 1 episode, which is weird.
What?
Yeah, 1 episode apiece. That's all they get. It's really sad, but it's how the manga does it. So yeah.
Right.
I think we're eventually going to have to go through Crystal.
Yeah.
But I also definitely, when the anime is done, we're doing Pretty Guardian.
I was going to say, you've made a lot of promises. I don't know when we're going to get to all these things, but we'll see.
I mean, look, all of this is assuming that we stay friends, Jordan, which who knows?
You never know.
These things could happen.
So you're familiar with our show,
I am.
so you obviously know the questions that we're going to ask now. Like, what do you think of the Miracle Romance?
So I don't. It's not my favorite. Like, I don't really focus on Usagi and Mamoru that much when I'm watching the show. I feel like there's much bigger romances, but that's also just how I've watched it for years. I really think the relationship is great in manga and Crystal. I think in the show itself, it's like, well, okay, it's sure there, but I'm not as into it. I think it's just because Mamoru is kind of weird in the show, and he doesn't really. I don't know. I know you love Mamoru, and I don't want to like hit on or
I mean,
knock your boy down a peg or
love
two.
is strong.
He's not my favorite.
love is strong.
He could use being knocked down a peg or two.
He's not my fave, but I do like and appreciate the fact that it is what propels the show forward. It's just not. It's not my focus. I love Haruka and Mishuru a lot, and I'm okay with Cookbook because I'm also really into was it Firewood?
Mhm.
Rei and Minako,
Mhm.
I think they're great together too. So I think that there are other romances in the show that I focus on more than just Usagi and Mamoru, but I still appreciate them.
Okay. I mean, I think he's gotten a lot better.
I think he has too. He's actually a lot more supportive and feels like the story's not as about him as it was in R. I think he's nonsense in R. I just don't like him at all.
Trash.
He's garbage.
But the whole
and
show
I really
is.
do. Yeah, the whole show is baby garbage, but I love it and I hate knocking on it, but it's still really, he's not my fave,
Sure.
but I appreciate the fact that he's there and a part of the story.
I think the problem, like 90%
Yeah.
of the problems with Mamoru and the problems with Rei,
Uh-huh.
that we used to get a bunch of shit for,
yeah.
it's because of the structure of the show.
Yes.
It's because of the decision made to draw things out,
Mhm.
to have him be like weirdly super antagonistic for like a year.
Yes.
And when R hits, to have the whole like me from the future told me I need to dump you. Like,
Oh, he's that plot line in R. So recently we rewatched R, and oh boy.
so did we, and I apologize.
Oh boy, it's no good. I don't like R.
I mean,
and we even
I don't know if you heard, we did an
yeah.
episode during
Yeah.
the I don't want to say hiatus, but during the break there, where
Yeah.
we counted down the top 10 episodes of the first 100 episodes, and
yeah.
did nothing from R or just one? I think one episode from R made it. Yeah, the Battle of the 10 Warriors. That was
Yeah,
the only
with the
thing
Spectre
from
sisters,
R
yeah.
that made it.
Yeah, but nothing from the Alan
Nothing
and
from
Ann.
Alan and Ann, of course.
era.
No.
Oh man. You know what's that? You probably got contacted by her, Christina Gomez, the one who she and her boyfriend
Yes.
Andrew did. Yeah, they're two of my really close friends, and they
She's
actually.
on the show.
Yeah, I think she's going. Has she been on the show? I think she's scheduled for Super S.
I thought she had already been on the show. I might just be thinking of I have scheduled people.
That's probably
Yes.
it. That's probably
But yes.
Yeah. She loves shitty space teens, and that's why they've done costumes of them. And she and I think, recently rewatched those episodes, and she's like, ooh, I always loved these growing up. They still don't hold up. Like, some parts of it, it's great because of the nostalgia, but some of them are rough. Some of those episodes, actually, they're like, you want to love them because you remember, like, watching them and really being engrossed in the story, and that's it's kind of rough. It's kind of rough now.
Holy cow, look at all this cool stuff you
Right.
just sent us pictures of.
We are looking
no!
at your
I'm like, you're looking through my
Sailor
email.
Moon collection.
Oh woof.
I love the Uranus sword
Yeah.
letter opener. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Bunch of SH figure arts.
Yes, I have a lot.
The teacup is very pretty as well.
How are these posed? Because I had them all in their end of transformation sequence poses. But you've got like Rei's got the Ofuda.
Yes. I tried to do them so that when I tried to keep them so that they won't fall, because they're all on a stand and I still need to get a case for them. I wanted to get like a nice standing IKEA case, but right now they're just posed so that they don't fall over. And the easiest way for them to hold their objects without them falling and landing on the carpet and me losing them forever. So that's really, they're not posed in any way other than I tiered them with moons in the center and then X-Force on one side, inners on the other. And I believe Zoisite is somewhere in there.
She's back behind Mini Moon.
He is dead center. Yeah.
Most important
In the
character.
back.
Yes.
Hiding behind. Like, you have them so that, like, there's Sailor Moon
Yes.
on the right, Super Sailor Moon on the left,
Yeah.
right behind them is Chibi, and then in the distance is fake Sailor Moon as
Yes.
portrayed by Zoisite, which
Yes.
I have now, by the way. Did I mention that?
You have Zoisite, really?
Yeah, Emily Gerald, former and future guest of the show, sent me a Zoisite of Sailor Moon.
Oh,
A fake
awesome.
Sailor Moon action figure.
Unless I'm mistaken, I see a Sailor Moon from this episode.
Yep. That
Statue.
is one I wanted to send you because it is. I
Oh.
hunted that down because this is my favorite episode and that is my favorite moment in this show.
Really?
I look forward to discussing that.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes,
okay. Oh no.
I would love to hear this, which is
Okay.
good because I
Alright.
think it's about time for us to get into
Good.
the episode.
Alright.
Oh, the little music box.
yeah,
Okay, sorry.
We've covered it all, right, Jordan? Favorite Scout, Miracle Romance. Is there anything else we know?
It's been so long.
Oh, just thumbs up, thumbs down on Chibi, but everybody says thumbs up now, so
Yeah, I actually really like her.
ENS is very good.
Yeah. I got no qualms on Chibi.
okay.
Chibi's great when she's just asleep for 3 episodes.
Aw.
Yes, that is true. Well, and Mamoru is like again still incubating her for this one, so
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If we could have spent R
Yes.
with Chibi asleep and Mamoru sitting quietly, R would have been so much better.
oh goodness.
It would have been, it would have been a lot better.
All right, well, with that, I think it is time for us to get into the episode.
Oh, someone just tweeted at us saying that it's Sailor Pluto's birthday as we record this.
Oh,
is it?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Sailor not appearing in this episode.
Yeah.
No, wait, she's is that next episode she's in?
No,
Next episode she goes up.
she kind of, her voice appears in this one. That's about
Okay.
it. But yes, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. We should really start keeping track of that a little more carefully. Because we've got like 9, I guess we've got 10 important birthdays now to keep track of.
Because you just threw Mamoru
Although I do
out.
have a
Is that
question
what just
on
happened?
what someone's birthday is going to be at the end of this episode.
Good question. All right, we'll get there.
Okay.
Get there.
So, as previously stated, we are watching episode 125 of Sailor Moon S, which is called The Shining Shooting Star, Saturn, and the Messiah. It was directed by Konosuke Uda and written by Yoji Enokido, and originally aired on February 11th, 1995. But I'm guessing that was not its title for the Cloverway dub,
Yes,
Jordan.
I forgot about this part, so I'm clicking on.
Well, no. Okay. Don't look.
Oh, don't look me?
Don't look, because I have it pulled up.
Jeez.
I have
Okay.
it pulled up, which means
Oh,
you
no.
can guess.
Okay. Oh God. What do I mean? Give us a hint. Give me a hint.
God, how do we
Yeah.
hint this? Yeah, it's,
Here's the hint. It's a song lyric.
yes, it is. It's Arrested Development's a good hint.
Afternoon Delight.
No.
They sing that in the show.
No.
Arrested Development.
Why would they call this episode?
Because they didn't realize it was about sex in the afternoon. That's the whole Arrested Development bit. There you go.
That's true. Yes.
I'm sorry. Do you think this episode is about sex in the afternoon?
No, that's what I'm saying. They named it Afternoon Delight, and then they're like, "Oh, this is really dirtier than we." Never mind. Let's move on. What else could it be? Oh God, I honestly have no idea. This is way harder than I thought it was, Chris.
Let's see. Yeah. It's really difficult, isn't it?
It's very difficult.
All right. Let me think.
And maybe you know what else is really difficult? Coming up with something funny to say during this bit.
I'm in
Yeah.
the 90s. I'm producing the show, and I'm like, oh, that name they gave it was garbage. Let's see. American kids don't understand that sort of thing. I want to call
Yeah, we
it.
literally cannot call it Saturn and the Messiah without getting flooded with angry letters.
Right. Good point. I mean, it is the end of the season. No, I've got nothing, dude. This sucks.
It is pretty hard. It is hard to just come off at the top of your
The
head.
name of Cloverway's episode 118 is Darkness, My Old Friend.
Wow.
Yep.
which is actually kind of dope.
It's
for
great.
This episode.
It's not bad,
Wow.
but it's not like, how would you attribute that to Sailor Moon? It's very strange.
I mean, it's also not good.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not good either.
Why would they call it that? And that's such a weird. Okay, so they're sitting there
Yes.
again in the 90s going, there's got to be some song from like the 70s. We can.
Oh, it's absolutely on the radio
Yes.
in the office. What are we going to call this one? Oh, done. So things are serious at this point of
Yes.
Sailor Moon. You might not remember because it's been a while,
Serious
but things are serious. They're so serious that we don't get the usual happy recap music.
No, we don't.
We get that pipe organ.
Not only do we not get the normal recap music, we don't get a preview that is anything but like weird metaphoric stuff. Like it's all like, what does she say again? It's all like weird cryptic shit.
Yeah, that's how the show works. It's all weird cryptic shit.
No. Usually they just tell you what's gonna happen. Do you not remember this?
Fight on, Usagi, against this weird cryptic shit. Yeah, it's with a little bit of courage, anyone can be a fighter. And then it's with compassion for others, anyone can become a messiah. Question, hi, yes, Chris Sims, Sailor Business Podcast. I don't think that's accurate.
I don't think it is.
If you try hard, you too can become a messiah.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know what? Actually, you know what? I've changed my mind. I've come full circle on that. Now I'm on board. I think that's a great message to be like, no, you know what? Be your own messiah. Just care about others and you can save everything. That's great.
Sailor Moon says.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
Be your own messiah.
So we are back in Mugen Academy, which has exploded 3 times already
It has.
and will continue to explode throughout the course of the episode. This building will not stop exploding. It like explodes floor by floor, I think.
Because
It
the
explodes so
top
many
blew
times.
off, right? Earlier, and now I don't remember.
Yeah, well, the top blew off, and then like some more of it exploded, and then it literally explodes 3
Really?
times in this
I don't
episode. Like it just keeps. It's gonna be a crater by the end of it, but I think right now it's half a building.
So first thing we see is, oh, I've already forgotten her stupid name. What is
Mistress Nine.
Mistress Nine? Right. That's how could I forget?
I don't know why, because we watch the show every week. Asterisk.
How could I forget the random numbers they just throw on people's names? I'm so sorry. But we see her, and she's kind of evilly laughing and talking about how Hotaru is dead. And we see her hair. Her hair is, I mean, there's a lot of people with a lot of long hair in this show.
Mhm.
Her hair goes onto the floor all around her in like all directions, like maybe 20 feet.
Oh, she's bayoneting.
Oh, is that a thing?
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
I mean, it's a thing in Bayonetta.
Like if you were to cosplay this character, you could only do it in one location and have people come to see you and then leave.
I never thought of that, actually. That's a good point.
That's a good idea. Please shoot that to Viz for the
Right?
the Mistress.
We just have one girl standing at the booth and we wrap her hair around all of the booth stuff and she doesn't move.
If she has to
She doesn't move,
go to
that's
the
it.
bathroom, they just have to take the giant wig off of her and let her slip out.
She's a trapdoor.
Perfect.
I just did a Google search for Mistress Nine cosplay, and it will not surprise you that Google wants to autocomplete it to Mistress Nine Dark Lady.
Oh,
For some reason, those two seem to get paired up quite a bit.
they do. I mean,
Wait, look that
it
up.
works with all the, Chibi growing up and Hotaru growing up. Yeah, I know a lot of girls who do that together.
I want there to be an episode where they talk about like,
I know.
yeah, I turned into a weird evil grown up too.
I know.
So people do cosplay her, and they do give her a
They
lot
do.
of hair, but not screen accurate amounts.
Not draped around the room hair.
Right.
Yeah, people are not going quite as wild as it does in the show, but that hair is going to be important later.
Yeah.
What matters now is that there's an immense power approaching from the Tau star system. That's right. It's Pharaoh 90, who we can assume is 10 times more powerful than Mistress 9, because that's just simple math.
Also, Let's talk about the fact that the universe in a jar has grown a lot bigger.
Yeah, but it's still not like the size of a universe. It's like the size of like a restaurant. It's like a McDonald's.
Yeah, but it used to be on a desk, and now it's an enormous dome with like all this equipment hooked to it.
So Mr. Stein is like, hey, what's up? Pharaoh 90 is about to show up. He's the ruler of silence, gonna just usher in the age of silence, which, we have no details. But
no, it's just going to be very
it's
quiet.
gonna
Oh
be
no,
bad.
you know what? It's going to be red, and people are going to break into stones.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Why not?
That's what we know about it because we've seen prophecies.
So we get a double team power move in the form of world shaking and deep submerge combined. And then Usagi does some stupid Usagi shit.
She takes the damage.
But I actually really like this, the way the scene plays out, because she jumps in front of this combined attack and is thrown back against Mistress Nine, who doesn't move, like a brick wall.
Yeah, she is a wall. It's ridiculous. Yeah, she takes the full brunt of both attacks because guys, she knows that that's Hotaru inside, who was kind of a jerk to them, but like generally is considered a good person. Like throughout this episode, she kind of has this thing, and next episode too, where she's like, it's not just that she's an innocent person, it's that she's a Sailor Scout, and on some level she's like, no, she's one of us, so like we can't let bad things happen to her.
She's very devoted to the team, and I really like that about Usagi.
I said it's some stupid Usagi shit, and it is. But I feel like of all the characters on this show, and I think the thing that differentiates Usagi in this moment from Neptune and Uranus in this moment is Dark Lady.
Yes.
Is that Usagi has seen Chibiusa turn into this same kind of person and then turn back. Like she has experience and knows that it is possible to save Hotaru because she's seen something very similar, which I kind of like because it makes it feel like the show isn't just repeating itself. That there is like, oh no, this is a thing that happens sometimes.
They actually have continuity. It's great, and I like that it's kind of seeping into what she experienced before, and that's why she's acting the way she is right now. I really like these scenes.
Yeah.
Except, and that's totally true, 100%. Except I do still wonder why she doesn't try healing all the bad guys. Because that worked really well, speaking of Sailor Moon R. Like, she healed a bunch of guys and they were like, hey, I'm good now. And then she just kind of went,
I feel like with the Spectre sisters, that was like a placebo effect. Like, you don't think it really moon healing, you're good now. And then Kathy's like, awesome, I'm good now. Great, thanks. I'm gonna go get a job.
So it wouldn't work on the Witches 5?
No, I don't think the Witches 5 had like evil blood or whatever's in monsters that makes them evil. I think the Witches 5 were just shitty people who changed their lives.
But what did the Spectre sisters have? They were just from another planet. I mean,
the Spectre sisters. The Witches 5 are who knows.
Okay, so you're saying the Spectre sisters were just people who were bad, and you can heal that.
Oh yeah, yes.
But people who have been crossed with like diamonds, you can't heal.
I don't think the Spectre sisters were healed. I think the Spectre sisters just made life changes.
You seriously, you really believe that? So it was just a big show.
Yeah, I think the Spectre sisters were just like people, right?
So Usagi is sitting there going, this is going to work. Like, they don't know that I'm just like squirting them with water.
Oh no, I think Usagi also thinks it works. Oh god. Like, I think you get the same
So
result.
she's sitting there going, I just discovered that sugar pills cure this disease. I'm a genius.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to prescribe this to everyone.
I think if we could see, I think if Ami was in those scenes, she would just be standing like right out of frame, shaking her head slowly. Just being like, hey, just take off the giant evil jewel that you're wearing on your forehead and maybe go get a job.
Why doesn't, hang on, so you don't think healing would work on this, on I almost said Pharaoh 90, but Mistress 9?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I think by the nature, like, we know it doesn't work because it doesn't happen in the show.
I wonder, when she had her powers changed, when everything was upgraded, did she lose that power to heal? Because we really have only seen her throw the brick wall of hearts at people this season. We really haven't seen any healing.
It's very rare that she goes backwards.
Yeah.
I mean, she has used the tiara a couple times this
Yeah.
season. Not a ton, like maybe 3 or 4 times. She hasn't used her crying power since episode like 1. Did she use it in episode 2? I don't even think she did.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think she only used crying power
Yeah.
once. It's been a very long time since she used the pen.
Yes.
I don't think she doesn't have the moonstick anymore, right?
No,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think so.
But she does have the crystal,
Yeah.
which you'd think would be the important
Yeah.
part. Okay, my question is this. All throughout watching this episode, the question I had, because especially like when we get to the end
Mhm.
and, spoiler warning, some weird crystal shit happens
Yes.
and Super Sailor Moon shows up. I was like, oh, why doesn't she just do what she did at the end of the R movie and like turn into Princess Serenity?
Because then she's gonna die. That's the whole thing at the end of the R movie where they're screaming at her like, "You're gonna die."
Yeah, but then she didn't die.
Yeah, but she didn't.
She didn't.
Turns out she's fine.
Yeah, but Mamoru is around, and right now Mamoru is like healing up his kids. So,
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so he healed her. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Oh no! Technically, it was Fiore's like life flower, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, no, that's true.
Now I'm
Yeah.
like going back and how did that end? It's a life flower.
Although I never understood that
Yeah.
either. To be honest with you, I love the R
Oh, yeah.
movie. I love it so much, but I never quite understood why all of a sudden they go, "If you use the crystal, you'll die," and it was like, "Wait, what? I will?" Where did that
Yeah,
come
I think
from?
it's if you use the full power of the crystal, then you die. Which
I know, but that's entirely new information
Yeah.
that they just shouted out
I mean,
at the time when she was about to do it.
90% of the show is entirely new information. And they just assume, oh yeah, no, that's what's happening, and you're just gonna accept that right now.
Oh, let's use Sailor Planet
Yeah.
power.
Yeah, and we'll get to that later in this episode as
Yeah.
well. Random things just happening.
I know that they play with that idea more. Like, I haven't watched it, but I know that they play with that idea more in Pretty Guardian because instead of Super Sailor Moon, the form is actually called Princess Sailor Moon.
Yes.
And like we've said on the show before, it's like going into Avatar state, basically, where she is inhabited by a different spirit. That's all later in the show. For now, we have what's this guy's name? I literally can't remember this dude's name.
What
Pluto's
dude?
dad?
Oh,
Tenno.
Tomo.
Tomo.
Oh, yes.
Tomo.
Tomo.
To- Tomo?
Tomo.
Tomo.
No, Tomoe.
So, but first of all, we have to talk about the fact that turns out Mistress Nine is another Medusa from Inhumans.
Yeah.
We already had a Medusa from Inhumans in the form of, who was it? Kiari Knight? Kiari Knight?
Yes.
Was that?
Yeah, her hair.
And now she just has way more hair, so she's a more effective one. But she wraps them up and then somehow like turns her hair to stone or something.
I think it's just blended into this nonsense statue, which might also be made of hair. I have no idea.
Oh, I never considered that the statue was made of hair. That's gross.
And the statue is of Mistress Nine,
Yeah.
right? So it's like a 40-foot statue of Mistress
With
Nine
wings.
with wings.
No, that's wings.
I think it's her hair turning into wings.
Yeah,
Wait,
that
is
is.
it? Let me look at this
Yeah,
again.
it's her
Jesus
hair turning
Christ.
into wings.
Also, you're absolutely right. It is.
And also like a giant wild
Oh, yeah.
scythe.
It's the that vision that Ray always has where in the distance there's that person on a hill. That's the statue.
Oh.
Yeah. So I mean I'm sure it's Mistress Nine. I don't know who else it could be, but yeah, that's the same vision.
Haruka and Michiru get tied up / merged with this giant stone / hair statue because this show is weird.
So then we get basically the same scene we've been getting the entire season again. The bad guy says, "Give me the blah."
Mhm.
Usually before it was a heart or what were the artifacts? No, what the fuck were they called?
Talismans.
The talismans. This time it's "Give me the Holy Grail,"
Yeah.
or I will kill Neptune and Uranus.
Yeah.
She wraps her hair around their throats. Which is, I'm sorry, I just am thinking about it and it's weird. And she says, "Yeah, I'll kill them right now if you don't give me the Holy Grail." And both Neptune and Uranus are like, "Don't you fucking do that." Neptune literally says, "If you give her the Holy Grail, I will despise you."
Then Tomoe limps back
Yeah.
on screen, and both of his eyes are normal now. He doesn't have his weird
Yeah.
Full Metal Alchemist eye anymore.
Well, and by eye, you mean glasses.
Yeah, but I think it's meant to be his weird eye, right?
Wait, you're saying like his eye like gives an aura that makes his glasses look weird?
well, because his glasses don't look like that anymore, do they, Jordan?
Listen, you're
It's
right.
not like he was like, "Oh, I'm not evil anymore. Let me get my other pair. These are prescription."
Yeah, no, that's what it was. What's the monster's name? He was like, "I like these
Oh
cool
yeah,
glasses."
Germatoid.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Germatoid, yeah, or whatever.
And Mr. Stein is like, "Oh, you're just the fucking shell of Germatoid, you piece
Yeah.
of shit," and like backhands him across the room. It's pretty great.
Get your hands off of me, you mere shell.
Yeah.
I love that line. I wrote that down because I was, you
She
mere
is stone
shell.
cold.
I love this because Usagi's standing there and she's watching Mistress Nine attack Uranus and Neptune and like choke the life out of them with her hair. She backhands her father and picks him up by the throat and is going to choke him to death. And Usagi just goes, "Please stop."
Aw.
Let me ask you about Mistress
Yeah.
Nine.
I have no answers for you, Jordan.
Yeah, I know. Tomoe walks into the room, right? And he's like, Hotaru. Now, she doesn't look anything like Hotaru, in my opinion. She looks like Hotaru in the way that everyone on the show looks vaguely similar. But like, as different as two woman characters on the show can be, they look different. Like, why does he recognize her?
Well, he sees her turn into Mistress Nine, doesn't he, in the last episode? It's been a while, so I don't know.
I thought monster version.
Yeah, he was unconscious. And maybe he just recognized. I mean, it's your kid. I feel like even if your body was older, you'd still recognize her.
I guess to me, she doesn't look like Hotaru, but older. She looks like a different lady.
Maybe she looks like Hotaru's mom.
Maybe. Oh,
There
God,
you
that
go.
makes me even sadder. Wow, woof. That's really sad. Even think of that.
Damn. All right.
So while all that's going on, we cut to outside where I actually really like this because I had forgotten they do this. But they're doing the same thing. The other four Inner Senshi are doing the same thing they do in Crystal Tokyo, just
Backwards.
on a larger like
Yeah.
backwards.
Sailor Fence. You like Sailor Fence? I'm not that into Sailor
Really?
Fence.
Oh God, really? This makes me so emotional. I like because they're helping as best as they can. They can't
I mean, I guess.
be in there to help Usagi, but they're gonna do whatever they can to protect her and protect Hotaru.
I am right in the middle of you two
Really?
because I think I do think it's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's fun, and I think like the image of them kind of standing alone at Galabru, back to back. Boy, when that movie comes out, people are gonna get that reference.
Oh yeah.
Standing back to back against this tide of monsters, and I think like the tide of diamonds is actually like a really cool, like the way that it's kind of fading in and out. Like it's meant to look like this, roiling like liquid mass that's just growing evil heads and coming against them. But it is a very passive thing to do.
It is.
It kind of makes sense for it makes sense for Ami. It kind of makes sense for Mina, but it's not what you'd expect from Rei and Makoto. You would expect them
Yeah.
to have like, would it be better if instead of like forming the big Crystal Tokyo fence, they were like out there like in a battlefield,
Yeah.
like just fighting, like physically fighting all back this
Yeah.
tide of monsters.
But they just don't have time
like
for
I
them.
think it's
Well, also, they didn't get pulled into the dimension that Usagi did, so they probably don't know what to do other than, like, look, there's a wave of clay people that's going to attack us, and it's just going to be futile to keep attacking a wave after wave of these monsters. Maybe it's just better if we use any power that we have to create a force field and we wait. And because I don't think they know where Usagi and Hotaru are in terms of space.
Oh yeah, I don't. Wait, are you saying this episode takes place in a multidimensional chaos world?
It's alternate. Isn't it like alternative space or something like that? Isn't that what it said? I forget.
I thought it was. I think it is alternative space because I think we made some jokes about.
But
Pearl Jam.
here's the other thing about this Sailor Fence. How are they talking to each other?
Sailor
telepathy.
Okay,
Sailor radio.
because they are.
Radio Sailor Scout.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not that good at judging distances, but I'm looking at the wide shot. They are far apart.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a mile apart,
they're
but
on-
they're a while.
they're on each
Right.
side of a
No,
building.
no.
Yeah.
They are blocks away from each other.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but they're like they're on the north, south, east, and west sides.
But again, if you look at the wide shot, the buildings in the middle of that field
Yes.
is many buildings.
I also like just real quick about this scene. I really like that Rei looks super determined. Makoto looks super determined. Ami just looks grossed out.
Yeah.
Which I think is really
It's like,
fun.
ew.
I hope one of these doesn't bite anybody in the boob in a second.
Oh,
Yeah, right?
Jesus. So back inside.
Back inside alternative
Yes.
space. Back inside 1994 Seattle.
Yes.
Oh Jesus.
We get like Mistress Nine has like does that thing that evil characters do where when they're possessing someone, where the person inside them is trying to break out of the possession. Except it briefly turns Mistress Nine into a character from Hellsing, where she gets like super huge hands and bloodshot eyes.
Oh, jeez.
She breaks down and she releases everybody's necks, but I think the Uranus and Neptune are still sealed to that.
Yeah, that just loosens the tightness on their necks.
Yeah. But to Usagi, this is proof now. Now she knows for sure Hotaru is alive and real.
Yeah,
and they're like,
alive.
no, it's a trick. And she's like, no, this is for serious.
Turns out everyone's right, because it is serious, but it's also a trick.
Yeah, she's saying she needs, I really need that Holy Grail in order to, like, you know, not be evil anymore.
Tomoe crawls over, gives her a little pat on the shoulder, and Usagi's like, "All right, here we go. I'm gonna pop the Holy Grail out of God space wherever it lives."
Yeah, this is one of the first times because we often see her produce objects that she wasn't holding before, but we've never seen it happen before. She just like holds her hands out, and the Holy Grail glowingly appears. Also, I wrote down you can tell that it's holy because it floats. Like no one actually touches it; it just hovers above everyone's hands.
And it has that hum, that like musical note.
Yeah,
hum in the background.
And I do want to say, like, we get a lot of really, really good animation in this episode. Like, I think we know where all the time and money went from when we got everybody's transformation sequence a couple episodes ago.
That's why it took like a month for this episode to be ready because it was being edited.
Yeah, they were animating it. It wasn't me being gone. Yeah, like because we get that good close up of Michiru where her hair is all bedraggled, and we get like even character models change in this episode because everybody's gonna get like super fucking battle damaged by the end of it. So Tomoe waddles over with the Holy Grail and gives it to Mistress Nine, but haha, fuck you guys, it was a trick. Michiru was correct.
And her just holding it releases a burst of energy.
Yeah.
You sound really sad for Usagi. You really...
This episode makes me extremely emotional just because of how determined Usagi is, no matter how stupid her actions might be to Uranus and Neptune. She just really wants to save Hotaru and to get the team back. And she's like, when her tears are welling up and they're all shiny, I'm welling up and getting shiny tears because she's such a good person. She's just trying. She's trying her best.
Are they floating out of your eyes?
No, unfortunately not. They're going to go into my coffee in a minute, but
wouldn't it be great if instead of like having like floating like shiny glistening anime tears, Usagi just got was ugly crying throughout the whole thing, like
they gave her a little nose bubble like they sometimes do.
Yeah, turning red and looking all gross.
And then Sonic Cry comes back, and that's how she wraps up the episode. Yeah.
So Mistress Nine says,
this is my favorite part of the episode. Mistress Nine is like, ha, I have the Holy Grail now. There's no way you can possibly defeat Pharaoh 90 once he merges with this. I mean, unless you create some kind of superior pure heart crystal, that could probably do it, but there's no way you're going to do that. But if you did do that, like if you had like a really pure heart and like had some kind of magic that was tied to crystals, you could probably win in the next 15 minutes or so. But I mean, there's no way you're going to do that.
She doesn't say that, does she?
No, she literally says, like, you would have to create a superior, in order to defeat Pharaoh 90 once he assimilates the Holy Grail, you would need to create a superior pure heart crystal. And I'm like, don't tell Sailor Moon she's got to do crystal shit.
Yeah, you're right.
Because it's all she does.
Wait, hold on. Let me go back a second. Her description of the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is the crystallization of pure hearts that raised love, hatred, joy, anger, and sadness to their highest levels.
This is actually an answer to a question we've been asking all season.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're not pure hearts as in pure of intention and like noble and good.
They're not hearts without sin.
Yeah, they're unadulterated. Yeah. They're like pure whatever it is.
But like I was expecting that. Again, in much that same way, we think of the Holy Grail. We think of those kind of good things as they should really be like love, sure, joy, sure, but no, you can have a pure heart of hatred, and that helps build the Holy Grail.
No, I like that though.
Really,
I really do. Yeah, because that's like it's what people are.
Yeah,
it's like everything that makes up a person. Like all all these pure emotions that get like combined inside us. Like I think I like that. I like that explanation.
Pure sadness.
Yeah. It's all like, it's not just, capital G goodness. It's a refined emotion that comes through.
So
it's peak energy is what it is.
Well, yes.
It's back to Nephrite shit. But
so then, like you said, she does tell Sailor Moon how she would have to win, and then she sticks it into like a tube that goes into that world. I guess I don't know.
yeah, it's like the when you go to the bank and you're in the drive-thru and you put the check in the little pneumatic thing.
Yes,
It's
yes.
one of those, but it goes to the
Pneumatic tube.
multidimensional chaos world. And that powers up the diamonds outside to the point where they start like overwhelming the other scouts. And when I say overwhelming, I mean biting on the boobs.
Yes.
Oh, yep, they sure do.
Unnecessary.
I can't remember for sure if they cut this out of the original Cloverway. I think they left it in because I remember going, because thinking like that shouldn't be something that they would leave in because they were slicing and dicing every other episode. I'm pretty sure they kept that one shot.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, it's not the diamond. It's Makoto, and the diamond doesn't actually like bite her boob. It bites her bow,
Right.
Yes.
like it bites the part of her costume, which I think is cool because we see the force of everything is kind of blowing like blowing at them like a wind, and we see the bows that they wear on their chest like kind of flying up, and we don't ever really see those move.
Yeah.
Let me double check. I'm gonna look on the
Uncensored.
uncensored and see if they changed it.
So then Mugen Academy explodes for the third
the
time,
millionth time.
floor by floor, like Nakatomi Plaza. The Holy Grail blows up.
Yeah, it just
Which that's
it
weird.
disintegrates. It's nonsense.
They did not cut that scene out. There's nothing
They
saying that
didn't,
they cut the boob biting.
I mean, like, and it's also like going back to the R movie. It's kind of thematically similar to when Fiore grabs the silver crystal off Usagi's chest.
But it doesn't look like
'cause,
he's grabbing her boobs. This, when you see this, it looks for a moment.
It absolutely looks like Fiore's
It
grabbing
does?
her boobs. We talked
I
about
don't
it on the show.
remember that.
Yes, but like it's actually biting the big green like button at the center of Makoto's bow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess that's happening.
I think because I was used to a lot of the other random scenes that they were cutting in the other episodes, I thought maybe that would be cut. And yeah, they left this entire episode intact, if I'm remembering correctly.
And then Hotaru, or not Hotaru, Haruka goes, "Look what your altruism caused." Which is that's it. That's Haruka as a character.
Aw. I know. I still like her. I still like her a lot, but I think she's just so exasperated. Like, we did all this work, and there you go. Your kindness just fucked up everything.
But again, like I said, we've seen this scene.
Yeah.
It's just been escalating in amount, but we've seen that happen over and over and over again.
So Sailor Moon pulls out her scepter and tries to do an attack.
Yeah, this is weird.
Just at a galaxy.
Well, but also, the attack she does is just Moon Cosmic Power. And I'm like, Moon Cosmic Power what? Like, you do Moon Cosmic Power makeup to transform. You're just going to yell out power and something happens? Like,
I think she's just trying to, use maybe a limited power of the silver crystal that won't kill her, but she's just trying anything.
Maybe she is using a new superpower with no explanation, like she does sometimes.
Yeah, how the show works.
No, but like, normally you'd be like, the show would be like, I'm going to use a new superpower and it's called a thing that is new. This is her just saying some words that she says every episode and doing something different all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's true. And if you notice, there's hearts that come out of the staff. Like the rod actually has the same kind of heart shape.
Oh, like
like
yeah,
heart attack. Yeah.
Or it's kind of like Pink Sugar Heart Attack, but like more effective.
Yeah, I'm wondering if she's just trying anything. Because that's what Usagi does.
So it goes into the multidimensional chaos world. And then this is Pharaoh 90, right? Like this is what Pharaoh 90 looks like. It's fucking Shuma Gorath.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say, yes.
Yeah, it's a giant like planet, like a planetoid that with tentacles that then opens up its like a giant eye and blasts energy back at Sailor Moon. So it's like a weird like Cthulhu monster, which is pretty cool because that's not the kind of thing we see on Sailor Moon every day.
Now, this is where, I know this is going to be a strange thing to say at this point, but this is where things get a little weird. What the fuck happens next? So, as the person who loves this episode most, can you please tell us what happens next?
Okay, so I think Pharaoh 90 is just shooting out power because he's trying to escape the Tau Nebula. And that's what happens next is he just starts shooting out energy. One blast hits Mistress Nine and like shoots her into Tomoe's arms. And then I guess the power of that blast actually makes Hotaru gain more control of her body. Because if you notice, it looks more like Hotaru. And it's, again, Usagi being Usagi. She jumps in front of Tomoe and Hotaru and takes the full brunt of the blast and just is tore up. She just looks like she's exasperated, but she's protecting them. And you're seeing like Tomoe just holding Mistress Nine, clearly Hotaru's face, but Mistress Nine's body. And he just keeps on coming. He's still blasting out all that energy.
She's got the dead eyes from
the
R movie. Speaking of the R movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The blank, expressionless eyes.
Yeah, no pupils. But I really like, my favorite bit of this is that the power being shot out of Pharaoh 90 like gouges like a half pipe in the concrete.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Except behind Sailor Moon, there's one little strip that's like that starts where she's standing that's unaffected, where she's blocking the blast. It looks really cool.
It really does. Like, this is when I start getting the feels, because she is just gonna take wave after wave of beating just to protect the two of them, because now she knows like, oh, Hotaru's in there somewhere. And yeah, this is now leading into what happens next with, is Hotaru coming through?
Well, Chris, hold on to those feelings, because now is the time for our act break. Third time's the charm. Jordan.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Do you remember how this show is supported?
No. I just assumed.
Okay, I was kind of teeing you up to say it. But
okay. Then yes, I do. We are supported by our listeners and their generosity through Patreon, which is a site where you can go and become a patron of our show. You agree to give a certain amount per month. Could be as little as $1, could be as much as infinite money.
It literally could be as much as infinite money, and I gotta say, that would be nice. I bought a card this week, so...
Although, to be fair, if you do sign up to give infinite money every month, you only have to do it for 1 month.
Yeah, that's... Because as long as we get infinite money once, I think we're good.
But yeah, so listeners sign up for it, and it's very, very helpful, and we thank them so, so much. We actually have some news, Chris.
Yes, we do.
We have, once again, gotten to our next goal. We are over $1,000 a month, which means musical business. I will be working on a new ukulele cover, and Allison from Xena Warrior Princess will start. She's told me she started writing a song.
Nope. Allison from Xena Warrior Business.
I'm sorry. Yes, from Xena Warrior Business. You're right. But she started writing a song for it as well. So, yeah, get ready for some music.
Nice. Congrats, guys.
Thank you.
And it has been 6 weeks since we've had to thank anyone, so we've got a few people to thank here, starting with Molar Duck.
Thank you, Molar Duck. That's a terrific name.
Ryden Allen.
Thank you very much, Ryden Allen.
Lieutenant Grimdark.
Lieutenant. Much appreciated.
Max S.
Max, thank you.
Sarah Hahn.
Sarah, thank you.
David Isaac, and I don't usually read out the amounts that people post because I think this is a little bit gauche, but I do want to give a special shout out to David Isaac, who did pledge $115.
Damn.
To put us over the top, and even like offered to help us out, like when we get to the Motoki's Game Corner level, like offered to help us out with streaming and YouTube so that people can watch me play through those video games. So thank you so much, David, for that very generous pledge.
Yes, thank you so much. That is incredibly awesome of you. And yeah, guys, we're not that far from Motoki's Game Corner. If you want to watch Chris play video games, we're not that far away. So this could happen.
And that's it as far as new patrons. And if you are not already a Sailor Business patron, you can get access to stuff like show notes, stuff like the Sailor Business pin, which was designed by Katie Donnelly, which is Tennis Ball Sailor Moon, which goes to $15 backers. We keep saying we're going to try and come up with something for $20 a month, but we haven't. But you can still give it to us. Also, Jake will send you a pin. Actually, I ain't going to send you nothing.
We should have some outtakes. I think Jake said there was some coming soon.
I think, yeah. Which brings me to my little bit of sailor business.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, everybody. The boy is back in town. I mentioned this. I went into detail on this on the War Rocket Ajax podcast that I do every Monday with Matt Wilson, and I talked a little bit about it on the next episode of Xena Business. So I won't get too into the details here, but if you are a regular listener, you obviously know I was gone for a while. And that is because I was dealing with a death in the family. We went up to Minneapolis and were there for about a month because Aiden's mother passed away. And she was a genuinely amazing person. Was able to kind of face the end and literally say, I have no regrets, which is awesome. But it meant I was gone for a good bit of time. And I want to thank everybody for their patience in dealing with that. I know it's always weird to get to be listening to a show and maybe not know why regular episodes aren't coming. But Jordan, I did want to thank you and Shannon and Jake and Allison for really stepping up and getting content out there so that people wouldn't be completely lost, and also not just going on and finishing S without me, which I would have understood if you had done.
No, we wanted to wait for you. Absolutely. I think it was a pleasure to do. They were lovely people, and I appreciate that they actually went the extra mile and did 2 episodes without me as well, while I was taking care of little baby Darian. So yeah, definitely big thanks to Jake and Shannon.
Yeah, it's been a big couple weeks, everybody. Yeah, like the whole cycle of life has been represented in the past month of Sailor Business. Birth, death, Sailor Cosmos, crossovers.
But Chris, guys, don't worry, listeners. Chris assured me he did not listen to the Sailor Cosmos episode.
I have not listened to the Sailor Cosmos episode. I did listen to
spoilers.
the top 10 and the Xena crossover, and those were both
Did you agree with our top 10s?
For the most part, I think. I think you said that there were a couple in there that I would have lobbied to be top 10 that I don't think I would have. Like, there's episodes like I like the Pinch and Adams episode, but there's no universe in which it is a top 10 episode of Sailor Moon.
I felt like you would have just to fuck with me.
No.
Okay, good. Thank God. Thank God.
I do think the Rhett Butler episode is pretty great. But it's in fact when you told me when you were like, hey, we did a top 10, like I texted you, Rhett Butler, ? And you were like, that's number 2. And I was like, Crystal Clear Destiny? And you were like, yes. So, but yeah, do you want to do we have 1 or 2 like Twitter questions? Oh, one more thing. I'm the one who has access to the Patreon. So if you've been wondering why that hasn't updated in the past 6 weeks, that's been why. But I am going to try and be a little bit better about posting show notes there, posting updates. And if there's things you would like to see on the Patreon page, whether it's like for backers or just like stuff that we could put up for everybody. I know we've been trying to put up the Dan scrolls, but I really need to go in and like collect all those from the emails that we've gotten from Dan Casino over on Xena Business and get those put up. But Jordan, do you have like anything that I need to put up on there?
No, I mean, again, I send you my show notes, but they're nonsense.
You send me your show notes every time, and I haven't put them up in a while. And folks, they're bad. They're very bad. They're incomprehensible.
They're like weird Sailor Moon beat poetry. It's wonderful.
Yeah, sure. Like poetry. That's exactly what I think when I see them. Poetry.
Lovely. Hey,
here's what Jordan's notes are for this episode.
Dramatic reading. Do you want me to like? I wish I had a bass guitar I could just start playing for you, but go ahead.
Different song. Cryptic. Crazy hair? ? That universe got bigger. Usagi took the damage. Another Medusa? Get your hands off me, you mere shell. You can tell it's holy. BC, it floats. It bit her boob? ! That's what you're missing out on. But if there's anything else that you would like to see, like I've been trying to do like little episode write-ups right before my plans got derailed.
At some point in the past, you had mentioned, I think that you do this on your other Patreon, that you do the thing where if you're a Patreon subscriber, then you get to ask questions that we prioritize. Like, should we do that? Like that?
Oh yeah, we have line steppers.
Yeah.
Maybe. Do we have it? Like, we generally don't have enough questions where that's a problem yet, I think.
Well, again, you don't know this because you should know this because I always advertise it, but I'm scrolling back pretty far in order to get to the questions because.
Yeah, which don't.
Yeah, but
we've got a nice month-long clean break we can take advantage of right now.
But there's probably good questions that we'll be skipping if we do
Then
that.
people can re-ask them.
Oh, that's what I say.
All right. So let's do like 2 Twitter questions and then get back to the episode.
Oh, well, I haven't even brought them up yet. I didn't think we were going to do them.
But you just turned into the penguin.
Fine, I'll start at the top and I'll scroll down. Blah.
Oh, such a trial for you.
Yes. Pelalos asks, if the Senshi played Skyrim, what class/race would each of them make? I know nothing about Skyrim.
They would probably, they'd probably just get like really frustrated that Skyrim is the world's most popular game to not have a plot.
Is that true? It's a sandbox?
I have a lot of feelings about Skyrim and how like I played that game for 80 hours before I like had a sudden lightning bolt revelation that it sucked. So
Wow.
but there is a cat people in Skyrim.
So Luna and Artemis can play?
Luna and Artemis can play. Artemis would definitely play. He would play a cat person.
Well, they have to play the game as training, don't they? Everybody.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think that's we obviously have seen Sailor Scouts being trained more from like side-scrolling action platformers, so they'd be more in like a Metroidvania vein, I think.
Ginny Odo asks, if you were making a movie of season 3...
Future guest, Ginny Otto.
Oh, excellent. If you were making a movie of season 3, what current actors would you cast as the Deathbusters?
Oh, that's a good one. Like including the Witches 5?
Sure, yeah, man.
Oh boy. Ooh.
So let's see. Let's start with
like
Tomoe.
literally just the cast of Riverdale.
Well, get the fuck out of here.
So like Luke Perry as Tomoe.
No, he would be a terrible Tomoe.
And then Cheryl Blossom as Kayla Knight.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
I think who's the one who drives the Subaru?
We can't literally just cast Riverdale as the Deathbusters.
We absolutely can.
You definitely can.
Yeah. Who would you?
All
Okay,
right,
well, let's start with Tomoe. Who would you cast as Tomoe?
Well, they have to have white hair. No,
Jordan, there's a thing called hair dye.
or a wig. I'm not going to make these people actually dye their hair white. Jared Leto.
God.
Yeah. Woof.
So he can actually become a scientist.
Jordan, you need to go do a
kidding.
push-up and drink some water.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that wasn't something I wasn't gonna expect to hear.
Okay, let's think of somebody better then.
Okay.
Danny Trejo.
What?
Danny Trejo.
I don't know. How old is he? I don't know. No. I was going to say Nathan Fillion, but I don't think that'll work. He has a cool voice, though.
Literally just Ted Danson from The Good Place as Professor Tomoe.
Yeah, no, that'd be perfect.
Doesn't have to dye his hair.
Yeah,
He's got glasses and
absolutely.
everything.
That's true.
And when he laughs, it's basically a Tomoe laugh.
Oh yeah, that's spot on actually.
Can he get away with being like Lecce and not us hating him?
We're supposed to hate Tomoe.
I don't think we hate Tomoe. I think we
I think we're
love
supposed to
hate
think he's a
Tomoe.
creep.
Sure,
He's possessed by a germatoid.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
Germatoid's the creep.
All right, fine. Ted Danson, fine. It's in.
This is a good question for L. Collins, I think, because they do the fan casting column over at Sci-Fi. But I don't know who could play the witches. I think that's like a really tough one.
I don't think I know enough young lady actresses. Like I in my head, I am going, yeah. Now I'm gonna have to fall back on Riverdale. Actually,
Cast Riverdale.
Yep. Entire cast of Riverdale.
Lily Reinhart would be the chandelier.
No, she has to be one of the witches.
No,
Yeah, it's Villy.
chandelier was one of the witches.
Villy.
No, she's not.
Yeah.
Villy is the
Yes.
sexy chandelier.
Oh, yeah, she was.
Pay
Yeah,
attention.
attention
don't-
to the show, Jordan.
I forgot. It's been a long time.
it has been.
Well, but who's going to be the best witch, which is... No.
Wait, who's best witch? Uriel?
Well, in my opinion, Mimette. I love Mimette.
Oh,
It would have to be somebody like... That's really tough.
Yeah, that's a real tough one. I think, Chris, you preferred Udil, didn't you?
I think Eugil is great.
yeah.
With her car.
With her Subaru. Well, it's actually a Toyota. We've been corrected.
Yes.
Right, Toyota.
With her Toyota, her 3-door Toyota. She's very good. She's extremely good. But no, Mimette is also great. That's really tough. We'd have to think about that one for a while. You know what? Send in your fan casting for The Witches
Yes,
5. I'd like to see it.
I feel like maybe
Agreed.
the cast of Scream Queens would be perfect.
Oh, I
Did
haven't
any of
watched
you
that
see
one.
Scream Queens? Yeah, I think like they would probably.
I have not watched it. It seemed like it would be too scary for me.
Oh no,
If the-
Scream Queens?
You know what? I did. Now that I think about it, I saw a couple episodes of it. It's a
Yeah.
comedy. It's like a horror
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's not really that scary.
Like there's a scene where somebody like is getting killed while they're texting, and they're like texting their screams and stuff.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's like a reality show. It's a faux reality show, but it's cute. It's cute scary.
It's still too scary for me. It's still too scary.
All right. Well, send in ideas. We've got nothing.
Once, just once, please add us.
You don't care. You don't do the Twitter.
Yeah, I know. All right, back to the show.
All
Okay.
right.
What does the S stand for, Jordan?
I couldn't think of anything in time. S for some sort of crazy plot, because that's what this one has.
Yeah, so as we rejoin this episode, Mugen Academy explodes again.
Wait, really?
For the millionth time. It's still exploding.
And Sailor Fence is overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Let's talk about these diamonds, right? The diamonds,
Okay.
last episode, they were like physical things, and now they're like ghosts.
Yeah, I don't think they're I think that's an animation trick. Like I said,
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be like a literal like liquid wave that's like growing heads and arms. Like I don't think they're supposed to be like I think it's supposed to be like a tide overwhelming them, not like translucent ghosts. I think that's just
That would have looked cooler. They should have drawn that.
The
mean,
budget
I
went
agree.
elsewhere.
But I think that's what they're trying to draw. Like, I think the reason they're translucent is that they're supposed to be liquid. Like, we're supposed to be able to kind of see through them.
But that wasn't the way they whatever. That wasn't the way they drew him last episode. I was like, this is weird, and I don't necessarily like the way this looks. But that's fine.
I think it actually looks pretty cool. Like, I think it doesn't look exactly like what it's supposed to be.
It's a very minor thing
Yeah.
that happens, because it happens really briefly. We see the scouts all fall over, and then we're back inside.
And then there's just dark
Yeah.
energy. I feel like they animate it so that you get the wave of Diamond, and then it's just black swirly energy that kind of overtakes the rest of Sailor Fence. It actually looks like the Diamond, they're not like they start off as Diamond and then they kind of dissipate into like dark energy waves and then blast the rest of Sailor Fence, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I don't really know what is happening other than they just disappear and there's no more wave of Diamond. And then they just float into the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, it looks like the Sailor Scouts die.
Yeah, it looks like the end of season 1.
Yeah, and this is the first time I was like, huh, is this the last episode of Sailor Moon?
It sure isn't.
Oh, but it's gonna get weirder.
It is.
So inside the bubble, we've got
Yeah.
Tomoe and Hotaru, because Hotaru is now like reasserting control of the Mistress Nine body, going back and forth and talking about how she has to save Chibiusa.
Mhm.
Because if you remember from last episode / a month and a half ago, they took out Chibiusa's pure heart to raise Mistress Nine.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Chibiusa is absent, hanging out with Mamoru on magic life support.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Tomoe starts having all these memories of Hotaru as a little baby,
Yeah.
as a little happy, occasionally angry baby.
Yeah, like Chibi Moon sized Hotaru instead of
Yeah.
Yes.
twice her size Hotaru.
I like the octopus balloon
Yes,
that she has
adorable.
in this scene.
Yeah.
Very good.
And it's all that like dreamy, watercolory background stuff.
I mean,
With the rose petals, like how
mhm.
Uranus and Neptune have the rose petals.
The implication is this is what he remembers. He doesn't remember the stuff when he was possessed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. But then Hotaru turns back into Mistress Nine, which happened, like, she goes back and forth, maybe, like, a little too much. Like, we get it. But I really like, I don't know if this is just the Viz translation being a little weird, which I don't think it is, because, like, the Viz translation is usually, like, really good as far as the subtitles go. But, she starts saying things like, die off and perish.
Oh.
Like, very, like, weirdly worded threats. And I kind of like that, because, like, it reinforces the idea that Mistress Nine is, like, not quite human. Like, she's not quite speaking the right words.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she does a Gollum and Smeagol argument with herself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's in the new Viz subtitle? Or is that the new Viz dub?
Subtitle.
That's in the new subtitles. I don't have the dub for this yet.
Oh, okay.
People said they did. Do they not?
Yeah, I do.
No, I
have
do
the
not have it
Blu-ray.
yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even
Me
get the chance to
specifically.
watch the new Viz one of this episode. So, yeah, that's interesting how they did that. But yeah, it makes sense since she's not actually human.
So then Mistress Nine explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hotaru says, I have people who are precious to me, and then Mistress Nine explodes. Mistress Nine, like, in the exact same style as the Holy Grail.
Yep.
Like, cracks, like cracks, and then dissipates, like, disintegrates.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And we get an amazing shot from Michiru and Haruka, where Haruka, like, for the first time, looks, like, surprised and weirded out.
With her giant white eyes.
The scene where she explodes is awesome. Like, that's some
Yeah.
really cool
Yes.
animation.
Yeah. And did you notice what is taking its place of the star?
Yeah, the her Saturn symbol.
Yeah, Saturn symbol. And she just like wipes her in a circular pattern.
Which, it's been a while since we've seen, like, a scout get activated with
Yeah.
the symbol in their forehead. Like, it's
Yeah.
been since... Like, do we actually see it happen with Haruka in the flashback
Yeah.
episode?
We saw it happen
Okay.
at some point in the past, for sure.
But, like, it's been a while since we've seen that happen. And the way that it happens here with just erasing Mistress Nine is very cool. Like, turning
Yeah.
Mistress Nine into weird VHS interference and then just erasing her
Yeah.
is pretty fucking dope, actually.
But again, things continue to descend into weirdness. So I'm not 100% clear on why she exploded, other than that Hotaru won the battle. But, like, why does that mean she explodes? Great question. Don't answer. Cut to, there's Mamoru doing his healing hands on his daughter. Okay, that turned out, that did not sound good. I'm sorry I said it that way.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Move on. Healing hands.
It's not.
It's fine.
Wow. Okay, but you you know what I mean.
So cut to the end of Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
when Hotaru's Force Ghost shows
Yes,
up.
she shows up as a glowing purple ghost. The cats do confirm that they see her, and she just kind of goes, "Oh, remember how she was going to die? She's fine now. Don't worry about it."
Luna's ears in this scene, by the way, are the exact shape and orientation of Astro Boy's hair.
Oh yeah, let me see that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And so the ghost of Hotaru shows up and talks to Mamoru and goes, hey, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
she's gonna be fine.
Don't worry about it. Oh, by the way, when she gives the heart back, I didn't put this in my notes, but you know what went through my head when she put her hands to her chest like that?
She's about to do bubble spray.
China
Collision.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I was like, her most devastating move.
And I guess we should say, like, we keep calling her Hotaru's ghost. This is not Hotaru.
It's not. Yeah.
This is Sailor Saturn.
Right.
This is the first time you see Sailor Saturn's outfit, and it's not the same as the others.
No, it's like weirdly like modified. Like it's the 90s costume version of the Sailor Scouts, because it's got like the sleeves that are kind of like feathers and then like a big fucking silver crystal in the middle of the bow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool
This
boots.
is so. I guess this would be the ghost of Sailor Saturn from the Moon Kingdom.
No idea.
No. Yeah, I think it's just Sailor Saturn. The entity of Sailor Saturn overtook the entity of Mistress Nine to reclaim Hotaru's body. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, but
But Hotaru doesn't have a body right now.
right. First of all, for most of the scouts, their scout self is not a different self. Like Sailor Moon is not different from Usagi.
Yeah, but Princess Serenity is.
Yeah.
Again, see the end of the Sailor Moon R movie.
Right. That's why I'm saying. So this is Moon Kingdom Saturn, the way that's Moon Kingdom Serenity.
Yeah, I really, it's very weird to figure out, and it's gonna get weirder. Is the thing?
Yep.
It's gonna get immeasurably weirder.
All right.
So,
let's keep going.
Mugen Academy explodes again.
Oh God.
It's the third time this episode. And I think it's done. I think it is done exploding now. We see Sailor Moon and Sailor Neptune and Sailor Uranus, and they're all like battle damaged. Like,
Yeah.
I love that like Usagi's like the little rings of her sleeves, like one's falling off.
Yeah.
Her bow's all bedraggled. Neptune's boots, like the little straps and buckles, are like falling off.
Mhm.
I think it's like a really cool effect. I also like that Michiru and Haruka have both lost half their bow,
Their bow, yeah.
but they've lost opposite halves.
Yeah. A friend and I actually did these costumes once. These
No,
versions
Really,
of
the battle damage ones?
Yeah, the battle damage ones. I think you can see them in that the link that I had with all my costumes in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I gotta find
Yeah.
this.
I
Yeah,
definitely
I wanna
did
see that
because
too.
we had it was my friend Morgan and I. We actually had these costumes, old versions of them, and we're like, you know what? Let's just rip them up because that's the best way to retire older costumes that you don't want to wear anymore. And we did these versions where we kind of dirtied them up, and it was fun. But yeah, I love these. This is such a cool scene where you really see the deconstruction of those costumes.
I am looking for this as well.
So, Chris, you can take us to the next bit while we look for these costumes.
Yeah. So this is the moment where Saturn actually materializes for the first time. You really get to see her. I mean, she just kind of shows up out of thin air. She kind of floats down and lands on a rock. And she starts addressing Usagi and tells her to, thank you so much for rescuing me and protecting my body. I think that's what she says. Doesn't she say, like, thank you for protecting my body? Hotaru is no longer here. I am no longer Hotaru, but now I can protect everyone. And
See, but I don't get that. How
I
is
know.
she not Hotaru? What do you mean?
I think, okay, so I think there was always a war for Hotaru's body. Even when Hotaru was a baby, because, you see the lab destruction and the whole reason that Hotaru was kept alive, at least in this continuity, because this is 1992 anime continuity where she's not a cyborg, because I think Lindsay brought that up, because that's what happens in the manga. And the Crystal version, she actually gets a cyborg body to keep herself alive.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so Sailor Saturn was always supposed to awaken in actual Hotaru, but when she was a baby person, she almost died and was kept alive by the entity of Mistress Nine residing in her body until the right time.
Which was the original plan for Ami, right? Like, Ami was originally supposed to be
I
the
think
cyborg.
so. I think wasn't that the original
or maybe
in the
just
original
robot.
like Naoko Takeuchi plan for the I think she was supposed to be a cyborg, wasn't she? I'm like now thinking back to old plans of what they were supposed to do. But yeah, she basically was kept alive by this diamond entity, Mistress Nine. I don't know if they ever say Mistress Nine is a diamond or if she's just a crazy alien person. But yeah, and so as she grew older, there was the Senshi that was supposed to awaken within her, but there was also this like Deathbuster person that's keeping her alive. So then when they get to this point, both of them are trying to, I guess, take control of Hotaru. But actual Hotaru now, I don't know where she is. She's probably non-existent because now it's Sailor Saturn who won. I think that was the point.
So the Hotaru who would sit on the throne
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
creepy doll room, that was
Yeah.
Mistress Nine?
But
Yeah.
here's what that suggests to me. It's kind of dark in that.
Yeah.
Well, no, it makes everything in the show dark because that suggests to
Yeah.
me that there's a being who is real Usagi who is effed because
Yeah.
Sailor Moon just took over her life and is sitting there like watching as the reincarnated Sailor Moon controls everything she does. And she's like, in real life, I would be different.
No, I'm pretty sure that Usagi is Usagi, But like when she again, it's the end of the R movie. That's when she turns into like the spirit of Princess Serenity is like when that happens.
The way I've always understood Sailor Moon is to be that she's reincarnated as her. So,
Jordan, I think it's clear that none of us understand Sailor Moon anymore.
The piece that I've come to with Sailor Moon is that she's reincarnated, meaning like she doesn't have the memories at the time, but if she had the memories, all of a sudden she'd have more experience and et cetera, et cetera. But like again, for lack of a better word, she has the same soul as the Princess of the Moon from a zillion years ago.
Yes.
So they are, in essence, the same person. Yeah. But this idea that Sailor Saturn and Hotaru are different makes it sound like there's a girl named Hotaru, and that girl named Hotaru was the one that was chosen to be the vessel for Sailor Saturn. And so Sailor Saturn gets like stuck in there, and it's like, wait, I was under the impression that Usagi is Sailor Moon in the sense that she is her reborn, not she is a person named Usagi who has the Sailor Moon parasite attached to her.
Well, no, I think Hotaru is a special case though, because Hotaru has the weird Mistress Nine stuff.
Yes.
Like that happens to her due to her father's science experiments.
Yes. But I also think, and this could just be me spitballing and trying to find a reason why Hotaru is still there. Hotaru could still be Sailor Saturn, but now that she's reclaimed power and she's no longer the weak kid that she was, she could just be saying that as like, I'm now stronger. She is really Hotaru, but she's trying to sound like she's a little kid trying to sound more powerful. I guess that makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
Like just trying to justify like, I am no longer that weak child. I am now this stronger person that I was always meant to be.
Well, and also, I mean, in a way, she is dead. Like, she's not wrong about that. Like, her body died.
She shows up as a ghost spectral form and then, then gains back actual, physical form. It's weird. It's
maybe it's like this, like in the sense that she has this, so the soul, okay, in keeping with all this weird ideas of like parasites and symbiotes,
the soul still burns.
The soul is kind of like the Dax Trill from Deep Space Nine.
Right, I'm listening.
So like in her instance here, it's the soul is Hotaru, but when she's a ghost, she's like, I'm not Hotaru, I'm just the symbiote now. I'm just Dax. So Jadzia is dead, but like she lives on in me, but I'm the all of it. I'm all everything.
That might be it.
So that would make sense.
Yeah.
I don't think Hotaru's situation applies to the other Senshi, because Kenji and Akuko weren't trying to resurrect Cthulhu. And if that were, we'd probably getting a lot more weird shit.
That was after she was born, so presumably...
No, I think Hotaru is Sailor Saturn reborn, but I think like some weird shit happens when she's like 3 years old. Like look back at Tomoe's memories of like he remembers her as a small child, not as the like
small lady,
as not the small lady. It's very different. So anyway, Sailor Saturn shows up with one like weird, once you notice it you can't stop staring at it ear. It's in the wrong place on her head. It's drawn very poorly. And she's like, what's up? I'm Sailor Saturn, the Guardian of Destruction, because I have the power to destroy planets. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Erisham the Judge in Sailor Scout form.
She's about to give Pharaoh 90 a thumbs down.
Yeah. So she summons up the Silence Glaive, and Sailor Moon runs at her.
Yeah.
And she stops her with the glaive and then backflips into another dimension to kill Pharaoh 90.
I love that shot.
It's a little Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, but it is, except that this is exactly what we have been told will happen all season.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little bit Deus Ex Machina-ish. Haruka and Michiru have literally told us, hey, Sailor Saturn has the power to destroy planets, and if she awakens, shit is fucked. So we have been warned about this.
Well, except that this is the opposite of that. Shit is okay.
Except that it's going to kill Hotaru. Hotaru is going to destroy herself along with Pharaoh 90.
Yes.
So when she backflips into another dimension...
Wait, actually, hang on. I'm sorry, I'm confused again. Because I thought she was already dead. I thought we watched her body dissipate.
We watched Mistress Nine's body.
Yeah.
dissipate, not Hotaru's.
Which is the same body. They have the same body.
Jordan, it's a weird show about magic.
Yeah.
She, like... Okay, here's what happens.
Because then she appears as a ghost, and then she comes back with another body.
She destroys the Mistress Nine body.
Yes.
Hotaru's body is transformed into Mistress Nine's body.
Mm-hmm.
Then Mistress Nine's body is destroyed as Hotaru's soul escapes.
Mm-hmm.
Then Hotaru's soul wanders around and then forms a new body, and then backflips into another dimension to die. Yes.
And then is going to die again. And I'd say, and then can't form a new body,
Yes.
except stuff's going to happen.
So she's like, yeah, I have to go in there and just fuck up Pharaoh 90 real fast. And you can't do it because even Super Sailor Moon couldn't do this. And then sweet flips into...
So then everybody's headband starts glowing.
Well, not yet.
Usagi pounds the floor for a while, yes.
Sailor Moon starts like trying to transform without the Holy Grail. Like tries to will herself into becoming Super Sailor Moon. Which is like a very like sad scene.
Yeah, this gets me every single time. This is
Absolutely.
the most emotional scene, I think, in the entire show.
Whoa!
Yeah, I'm rewatching it right now on my phone, and I'm getting emotional. It's really sad. She tries so hard. She just keeps slamming herself into that bubble that just shoots her back. And then she says over and over, what is it? Moon Crisis.
Crisis makeup, yeah.
Crisis makeup over and over. And she's got the shining tears that explode out of her face. And she's pounding the ground like, why? And there's
it's the scene where she's pounding on the ground that really gets me. Because we've seen Usagi get sad.
Oh, it's so sad. It's so
We've
sad.
seen Usagi be concerned for her friends, but I don't think we've ever seen her this frustrated with her inability to help.
No, it's so sad.
And it's like when she just starts pounding on the ground, she's like, fucking, why can't I? Like, I need to transform. Why can't I transform? It's like really affecting.
It really is.
And then these two assholes just watching silently.
I'm watching it silently on my phone right now, and I have tears in my eyes. It's every single...
No, I meant Haruka and Mishima, not you two.
They're just they're completely beat to shit. Like, their outfits are just tore up, and they're just blankly staring at her. And I think that's when they're most affected by the person that she is and why... It's so moving. This entire scene is so moving.
Meanwhile, the inner Senshi have been caught in a tornado, Wizard of Oz style, and are floating around.
Yeah.
I just figure they're just getting again, they're in a tsunami of diamonds and dark energy, just getting battered around outside.
Yeah.
And their headbands start glowing, and they're like, Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I was like, oh shit.
Yep.
Oh shit. Everybody's going to combine their friendship power.
Yeah, it's the friendship power. I love it. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And even Uranus and Neptune, who spent however many episodes being get out of the way. You can't do this. We have a mission. And then yelling at her this whole episode, you keep screwing up. And then they just realize how much she cares. And they just they form, it's the whole team finally comes together. That's the thing that makes me so emotional about this. They all suddenly believe in her.
And then Usagi wills herself into becoming Super Sailor Moon and grows a pure heart crystal. It's remember earlier in the episode when Mr. Simon was like, you'd have to create this is never going to happen, but you'd have to create a super pure heart crystal in order to deal with Pharaoh 90. But obviously you can't ever do that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
So then she jumps into the void.
Well, there's that whole transformation scene that's this beautiful sweeping, that music. We haven't heard that music before, have we?
I don't think so, yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, with all the butterflies, the rainbow butterflies fluttering around her, and she does that dramatic leggy leap.
I do wish Sailor Moon could decide if bird wings or butterfly wings were cooler, because it cannot.
She's got the stream of tears. The stream of sparkling tears. With her blank eyes. She's got those blue, solid eyes that she had before when she stopped the blast.
Got those fucking Princess Serenity eyes.
I just want to mention, so then she jumps in, the energy all dissipates, cut to the wide shot where we reveal huge, maybe, let's see, that looks like about maybe 8 to 10 city blocks of Tokyo are flattened.
Oh, they're obliterated. They're just gone.
It's the biggest news story in 50 years.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, a massive chunk of Tokyo was flattened by dark energy from another dimension. Here's sports.
And where Mugen Academy was is now a crater that immediately fills up with water and becomes a new
Yep.
lake in Tokyo.
Yep.
Yeah, and we get a real good look at all like super fucked up Michiru and Haruka, and I love that like their bows are all fucked up, like their sleeves are falling off. My favorite part is that like Michiru's skirt is like about to fall off.
It's just hanging. It's hanging off of her. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And they hear Pluto. That's Pluto talking to them. Like kind of in space. I have no idea where she's coming from.
What does she say?
Yeah.
She's like, if you see
Messiah?
or you meet the true Messiah. Yeah. And then they're like, was that the true Messiah?
Yeah, so Usagi's Jesus.
Yes.
Everybody.
Jesus Usagi.
Future moon space Jesus.
No, Chris.
Oh, God.
Anyone can be a Messiah.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Anyone can be a
Anyone.
Messiah. And we also see the inner Senshi and their battle damage like waking up, and I really like this because I like Ami especially because Ami's just kind of like draped
She's
over
hanging
a
on a
rock.
rock. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like someone set her there to dry.
But I definitely think they were in like a twister because they were all deposited like in the
twister.
same. Yes, they were all deposited in the same place. Because again,
Yeah.
if you remember, they were very far away from each other. But now when they wake up, they're like 5 feet away from each other.
Yeah.
So then,
Oh, here we go. Oh, no.
so then, I want to take you through this as I understand it.
Okay.
Okay.
So then, there's a shower of sparkling butterflies
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm, mhm,
that coalesces into Super Sailor Moon,
mhm, mhm, mhm.
who is holding a baby.
Who is also battle damaged, by the way.
Super Sailor Moon is also battle damaged.
Yes. Her hair is out of her loops.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just falling out of her loops.
And she is holding a tiny newborn baby
Yeah.
that is Hotaru.
Yeah.
She's also missing one of several of her eyebrow feathers.
Oh, yeah, they're
Oh,
just
yeah.
gone.
Part of her sleeve is missing. Her ribbons are a little tattered. I mean, she's not as bad off as the other
Yeah.
scouts, but she is damaged.
And then there's another stream of sparkling butterflies that goes to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the episode.
That's
and
it.
I believe the end of Sailor Moon, the series.
Hey, hold on. You said that was Hotaru. There's nothing
Yeah.
to suggest that in this episode, Chris.
Not in this episode, no.
Well, except that we see Hotaru goes into fight Pharaoh 90.
Maybe that's Pharaoh
Yeah.
90.
Maybe it is Pharaoh 90. Jeez, I don't
She
know.
has baby Pharaoh 90.
Baby
Maybe it's
Pharaoh
fucking
90.
Baby Jordan.
Oh,
from
baby
100 episodes
Jordan! He's
Aw.
back.
Yeah.
I love him.
I was completely with this episode till a fucking baby showed up, and then I was like, "All right, Sailor Moon, you gotta help me out with this
So
one."
yeah, talk to us about it because you say that is your favorite scene of any scene in the
Well,
entire series.
I should say the inclusion. You know what? I should say the inclusion. The entire finale is like up until like from the moment where she starts beating the ground and they all, combine their powers, and then she comes back and she is just blank-eyed. I think it's less of the fact that Hotaru came back as a baby and more of look at what Sailor Moon is willing to do to go through hell to save a friend or a team member. Like that is my favorite image of Usagi as this. She is so self-sacrificial and so good-hearted, and she look at it's just really, I don't know, it gets me. But that does not include the baby aspect of it. Like I don't know how to explain the fact that Hotaru got birthed into Pharaoh 90. I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows.
What this reminds me of, and the question this leaves me with because of comics, is
Yeah.
Sailor Moon was gone in our perception for 2 minutes, but was
Yeah.
it 100 years for her?
Oh,
Is this a Cable and Hope in the future situation? Has the Cyclops of Sailor Moon become the Cable of Sailor Moon at last?
Oh yeah, I don't even know. It is a big trope, like the whole, oh look, she's reborn as this pure child ready to start again. And it's very this is a very tropey Sailor Moon kind of thing, or I guess in some anime it's probably happened. But
Well-
I just like it as a culmination of who Usagi is as a character.
I mean-
That's why I like this.
For a moment, I was like, well, that makes sense because the crystal causes reincarnation. Like, we know it does that. But then I was like, yeah, but wait a minute. When it does that, they still have to have parents who have a baby. Like, they don't just make babies appear, usually. And in this case, they did.
Maybe she's the cyborg. We don't know.
Right. This is a cyborg baby.
Why was a cyborg baby?
No, it can't be. Why would you make a cyborg baby?
They do it in the manga. Who the
sense.
hell knows? They do it in the manga. It's in Sailor Moon. It's all nonsense. Who cares? But yeah, I have no idea how a baby just materialized out of thin air. There is no explanation. They really don't even bring it up ever again, like in the next few episodes.
I'm sure that we're going to get a thorough and complete explanation next episode.
Yeah,
Because this is a weird way to end on if we're going to have more episodes coming. But that's the end. That's the end of this one. So it's time for us to talk about what we learned from the episode. It's time for Sailor Business Says. And Chris, we'll start with you. Yeah. What did you learn from this episode of Sailor Business or Sailor Moon?
I learned that no matter how many times I have watched this episode, I still cry every single time. Like, even watching it right now, I will still get misty-eyed, and I'm just a big baby for this episode. That is what I learned. It still has not stopped. And also, I learned that babies can be cyborgs too.
Aww.
Jordan, what did you learn?
We already talked about it, but
have you checked little Darian to see if he's a cyborg?
Oh, jeez. No. I any test I can think of for that is not something I want to do to my baby. So, no.
Dogs can tell.
Oh, okay, then that's fine. No, I learned. Obviously, I learned that anyone who has compassion for someone else can be a messiah. That is. Be your own messiah, everybody. How about you, Chris?
I learned that the best way to travel through dimensions is the backflip. Which honestly is the best way to travel anywhere at any time. Just, if you can leave a room by backflipping, always leave a room by backflipping. Just like make sure you are taking safety precautions. Don't sue Sailor Business because of that. A really good episode, but a very weird one. So many questions.
It doesn't feel like Sailor Moon at all. And it's very hard to describe. If this was your first episode, I don't know what to tell you.
We've talked to people for whom Crystal Clear Destiny was their first episode of Sailor Moon and how it hooked them with all the drama. But I would be very curious and kind of shocked to find out that this is my first episode of Sailor Moon and it made me love the series. I would get it because I do love this episode, but boy, oh boy, is it a weird one. Babies are showing up, people are just screaming until they transform. What if every episode you just had to scream until you transform?
Just pound the ground until something happens.
Ghosts are showing up. People are swapping bodies. Germatoid is getting thrown around like it's a thing we should know about.
We have Space Cthulhu coming through.
Yeah, Space Cthulhu, comatose children. Very weird. Very, very weird episode.
There's
I like it.
There's a lot that happens. Yeah, I'm glad.
Oh, I forgot to mention the part where Sailor Uranus was like, was everything we did meaningless? And I was like, yes.
No! That actually gets me very emotional too, when she drops to her knees and she's like, we did all this and it was all for nothing. And yeah, Usagi's just hanging there on the ground. I don't know what to tell you. I tried. What an episode.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, listen, it was it was good. It's not my favorite. It gets a little too weird for me. I want it to be a little bit more understandable than it is.
Well, it's also, what do you get out of when you watch Sailor Moon? What are your favorite types of episodes to watch? Because sometimes the fillers and the adventures are fun, and then you have heavy hitters like this. And
I mean, listen, going back all the way back to the end of season 1, the end of season 1 is amazing, and I love it. And it does set this standard of when you get to the end, everything becomes completely removed from reality. They're out in the middle of is it the ice, right? They're out in the North Pole, and so there's nothing around, and everything just gets almost symbolic, but not quite, because it's still relatively straightforward. They're we teleported here, and then we fought this guy, and then we fought that guy. But I don't know. Yeah, I feel like that one kept it still you basically got it. Whereas this one does get a little wait, why did that happen? Okay. But again, it's not that it's bad. It works, and it's been a good season overall. it just a little. I probably would have done it a little differently.
Okay. You know what? That's when you watch season 3 of Crystal and maybe see how you like the ending of
There
that,
you go.
because that one actually has this ending told much differently. But yeah, maybe you'll like the way that one ends.
Okay.
We've talked before, like, I really love, like, the Monster of the Week filler episodes, but when Sailor Moon gets dramatic at the end of the season,
Mhm.
I like it when it gets dramatic and also really weird and reminds you, oh yeah, this is a show about magic moon royalty that was reincarnated
Yeah.
to fight space rocks.
Yeah.
And I think that this episode does that. Like, this is the,
Yeah.
like, I know it's going to, but I will be shocked to see a weirder episode